Hey, what's up YouTube? Today I'm going to show you how you could use the Google provider inside of NextAuth so you could use Google authentication inside of your Next.js project. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now and I am on the NextAuth docs, and as you can see, NextAuth is becoming auth.js and all the syntax is going to be the same, so no matter when you're watching this video, it is still relevant to you. So we are going to open up my VS Code editor, and what I've done is I created a Next app using version 13.4.3, and I removed some of the boilerplate code inside of the homepage, which is page.js, and I just have an H1 saying homepage, and I have a Google button, which I got from the package react-google-button. And make sure you have a used client on the top of this because you need it for the Google button if you do install this package. I did remove lines 5 through 27 on the global CSS file as well. And that is all I have done for this Next.js project so far. So I'll show you exactly how that looks on the localhost 3000. This is it right here. And none of it is functioning, but we are going to make this clickable where you could actually sign in with your Google provider. So the very first thing we are going to do is we are going to install the package so we could actually use Next Auth. So we can stop our development server and we could run npm install next-auth. This will allow us to actually use NextAuth's methods, functions, features, all of that inside of our project. Next, we want to create a catch-all route inside of an API folder inside of our app directory. So we are going to create a new folder called API. In that, we will have another folder called auth. And then inside of the auth folder, we're going to have the catch-all route, which is going to be a bracket, .. next auth, and then another bracket. And then inside of that catch-all folder or directory, we're going to have a file called route.js. Inside of this catch-all route, we are going to initialize NextAuth, and we're also going to say what provider we're going to use for our application, which is going to be the Google provider. So we need to import two packages. First one is NextAuth from nextauth/next. And then the other one is going to be the Google provider. And NextAuth does provide a load of providers that you can use. After that, we are going to create a function called auth options. And this is going to take in an object. And inside of this object, we are going to say what provider we are using with an array. And inside of it, it's going to be Google provider. This is going to take an object, and it's going to have two properties. One is going to be the client ID, and the other is going to be the client secret. You will get these two values from your Google console, your cloud console, and we're going to store these values inside of an env file. After that, we do want to add another option, which is going to be the secret. So the secret is going to allow us to encode a JWT token inside of our user. We are going to create the env file on the root layout of our application. So it's going to be a .env file. Inside of it, we are going to have a secret that's going to equal something, which could be anything. It's going to be a string. Then we're also going to have two other values, which is going to be Google client ID. We could just copy it. And then we're going to have the Google client secret. And we will, like I said, get these values later. Let's go right back into our catch-all route. And now we have to actually export it from this file so we could use it inside of our application. To do that, we are going to actually initialize a variable called handler. And this is going to equal next auth, and it's going to pass in the options of auth options, which is this whole function here. Then we must export everything inside of a route file convention of Next.js as an HTTP request. So that's either as a GET request, a POST request, a PUT, a delete, whatever it is, we have to do. And for our case, for NextAuth, we are going to use the GET and POST. That is what NextAuth uses, a GET request and a POST request. So we're exporting it as is. Now let's go and get those values for the Google client ID and the Google client secret. So to do that, we will go to google.com and you're going to search Google Console Cloud. It should be the first search result. You click it. If you're not logged in a Google account, Gmail account, log in. And you're logged in, it should look like this. At the top left, you should have no projects, but we could create a new project, and then we will click Next Auth Google. You can name your project whatever your project's name is. So we're going to click create. As you can see, now it's loading and it's creating the project. And after the project is created, you're going to make sure you're actually showing the actual project here at the top left. So we're going to make sure we're inside of it. And then we're going to go into APIs and services. Inside of the APIs and services, after this loads, we are going to create an OAuth consent screen. For the OAuth consent screen, we're going to make the user type to be external. That means anybody is available to test this OAuth consent screen in the development server. We're going to have an app name, so we're just going to put Google Next Auth test. The user support email is going to be whatever email you're signed in with. And then I'm just going to put a random email here, brett123@gmail.com. So those are the only fields you need to do, those 3 fields, 1, 2, and 3. You don't need to do an app logo or app domain. You could press save and continue. And then the next step is going to be the scopes. We're going to add 3 scopes. The first 3, 1, 2, 3. Scroll down and press update. You're going to see them populated right here. We will scroll down, press save and continue. We're not going to add any test users, so save and continue. This is just a summary of everything we just clicked. So we're just going to go back to the dashboard. And then after this, we're going to go to the credentials tab. We are going to create new credentials with the OAuth client ID. The application type, we are doing a web application. We could keep the name as default for my sake, but you should change it to whatever you want. And then an authorized redirect URI is going to be the http://localhost/API/auth/callback/Google. So after that, we are just going to take create. And then we're going to get the client ID and the client secret. Obviously, you do not want to show this to anybody, but for this tutorial purpose, it's not a big deal. So I'm going to copy the client ID, go back to my VS Code editor, go inside the env file, paste the client ID where it needs to be. Next, go back, get the client secret. We are going to go back in the VS Code, and then I'm going to paste it inside the client secret. So now we are ready to use the Google provider on the client side. Now we are going to go inside of our home page, which is the page.js file on the root layout of the app folder. We're going to go to the Google button. I'm going to add an onClick. And this onClick is going to take in the sign-in function, which we are going to get from Next Auth. This sign-in function is going to pass in a parameter of a string called Google. That's how we access the Google provider with the sign-in function. Now we need to import the sign-in function. And this is going to be from nextauth/react. So now we are ready to test it out. A quick fix before we actually do test out is I do want to make this an anonymous function, because if you don't, you will get an error. So make sure you have a arrow function pointing to the sign-in function with the Google as the parameter. So now let's just clear the terminal, make sure everything's good. Run the development server again. We're going to open up localhost 3000. And we are going to test to see if everything works. So if everything works, we should be prompted to a Google OAuth sign-in screen after we click this button. So we click sign in with Google. And as you can see, it gives me the options to sign in with my Gmail accounts. So that is it for this tutorial. If you found this useful and helpful, also please hit that like button and also subscribe for more. I actually do have a full in-depth tutorial that's about 2 hours long on everything Next Auth related. So if you do want more information about how to use Next Auth, check out that video. I'll link it at the top right here. And like I said, subscribe for more and have a good day.